Hi Ben, thank you very much for joining me this evening. Now, I look at you as a wonderful medium and I'd just like to ask you some simple questions. First of all, I'd like to ask you, and I'm sure most people would like to ask you the same question, how did it start, your journey as a medium?
I suppose you could not class me as a medium from childhood, as people per se. I'm probably fell into it by accident.
Okay.
A friend of mine from Ireland took his own life in London, and when I found out he was dead, he was buried about 2 hours previous to that, so I didn't get to go home for his funeral or anything like that. And he was probably dead about 6 months, and I was travelling to work one morning as a plasterer, and in the back of the van I looked in the rearview mirror and there he was, standing looking at me.
Physical?
Physical.
And you had nothing before that to indicate?
Maybe when I was a child I probably saw an old woman sitting at the end of my bed, but was very scared. So threw the covers over my head, as you go ahead and do. Never tried to connect or anything like that, and just let it go. I just thought, maybe different people see things. When I was living in London before I moved to Watford, we were living in a small flat, 1-bedroom flat, and downstairs in the ground floor flat an old man died in one of them, and I saw him probably a couple of weeks after he died, waving in at the back of the window to me,
So that first encounter of your friend passing over, was that the catalyst?
It was probably the catalyst. I probably have seen what people call spirits before, but just thought it was just maybe the odd time, not regularly. Definitely hadn't got contact with them regularly, but I had seen and encountered spirits before that. Yeah. So
once that happened, and then obviously you saw the old gentleman, did you start to develop it, or
no? I saw him one time and started buried my head into the steering wheel and started shouting obscenities, get away, get away, and a lot of other stuff. And then I saw him again. This time again I was in the van and we had a set of traffic lights, and happened just to, when you're in the van you're obviously looking down into cars and stuff like that, and there was a car pulled up beside me, and I looked looked down, and he was in the rear view seat looking up at me. So I'm, oh no. So then the third time I saw him, this was all in probably a space of maybe 3 or 4 days, I saw him at a bus stop. There was probably between 16 to 20 people at the bus stop, and he was standing right front looking at me. So, I don't know.
How did that make you feel? I mean, obviously, this is the first main event. Did you feel scared? Did
Absolutely.
you know who to turn to?
No. Nothing.
What was the journey from there on?
Really scared. Probably back to the house, and said to my partner at the time, he's come back again, and she suggested that there's a spiritualist church in Garston. And I said, no, I'm not really into them sort of things. And so I went anyway and explained all my case to this woman who sat and listened to me intently, and at the end of a half an hour after explaining my case, she said, sorry love, I'm only the cleaner. So
I'm sure she was really intrigued though.
She must have been, mad. She must have thought I was mad, but she was, I asked her, could she ask, or did she know anyone that would help me, and just at that particular time, a woman walked into the church, and she said, that woman there will help you. And I booked the reading with her. He came through, and he said that he was, trying to get in contact with his wife.
So when you say he came through, did he come through her?
Yeah, he came through her.
So
yeah.
yeah.
I had a reading with her, and he came through her, and told me stuff that where we went to school and stuff that she would not even in this country, so she couldn't have known,
Well done to
and
her. Thank God you actually found a medium that was in the right place for you, because that could have been a very bad catalyst. It's the wrong person.
So that was I think he passed in '99, so that was more or less the start of the journey.
So it was quite a short time, because obviously this is 2011, so
Yeah.
that's not that long ago.
No. And then we had, I was going into, even though I lived in Watford, where I used to live was Willesden Green, and the bank was still there and stuff like that. And I happened to go into the bank one day. I just put my hand on the door to go in, and I could hear, Tracy's coming behind you, she's coming behind now. And as I turned round, there's his wife driving past.
Amazing.
So I called and she pulled over, and I was trying to, how do I really explain this now as I'm crossing the road to her without her thinking and that I'm absolutely a fruitcake. And she said that she had some experiences of her own, that a chair kept appearing that she'd put in the corner, but you know, a couple of times when she woke up in the morning it was by her head, so as if it was somebody sitting watching her, you know. And just really went from there. I joined a development circle in Garston. I probably dipped my toes in it. I just, you know, gave it a once a week shot. Was working, trying to pay bills with a family, young family, and you know, I was just didn't give much time. And I thought after maybe, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months, I said, you know, this is enough for me. I've given it a go. I've done what he's asked. Now leave me alone. And I did it. I left it alone. I walked away. And then I had another experience, and I went to a lady up in Watford this time, and I joined a closed circle belonged to her, and it taught me a lot more, developed a lot more. And again, I probably stayed there for, again, 6 or 8 months. And because of work, I couldn't really get there on time and stuff like that. And I said, you know, I've given it 2 shots now, and you know, it's not really for me. It's give it to somebody who wants it, you know, because lots of people want it and crave it.
Yes.
And I said, listen, I haven't really got the time, you know, at that particular time. I hadn't got the time to go ahead and pursue it properly. So I left, I walked away. And then really it came about in probably late December 2004, where I dipped in and out of these circles and, you know, read books and different things. And I was plastering a wall one Friday evening, and late at work, and you know, in December it's dark, and it was just me, the lights, the wall and the radio. And the song come on the radio, and you're trying to think, you know, what's the name of that band, what's the name of that band? And then you get the name of the band, and then you say to yourself, what's the name of that lead singer? Just for something to entertain yourself for a few minutes while you're walking. And I heard a voice out loud saying, my name is, I don't know if I should say it, my name is Michael, he said.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I looked round and I said, nah, I don't want this. Because obviously being by myself late at night, and he said,
time.
yeah, and he said to me, it's time for you to come back. And I said, listen, wherever you are, or whoever you are, you can go away and leave me alone. I said, I'm trying to plaster this wall. And he said to me, no, we're going to prove to you. I said, listen, there's nothing you can do.
Wow.
Nothing you can do to prove to me that the spirit world, even though I was talking to him, or just his voice, because I didn't see anybody, it was just a voice. And he said to me, we will prove to you. I said, okay. And everyone has a weakness, you know, I don't care what it is. It could be alcohol, it can be horses, it can be anything, yeah? And my weakness was football. You know, I am one of them men, unfortunately. And he said to me, if we make a bet, he said that you'll come back into spiritualism, but for good. And I said, what's the bet? And he said to me that my team would win the European Cup that year. Well, obviously the following year, but in that season. And I bust out laughing because we couldn't win a game in the league. We kept losing and losing and losing. And I think we were ridiculously odds on. We didn't even qualify out of the league at that stage. It was so ridiculous what he'd said that I agreed.
As you would.
As I would. I said, you know, just for the challenge itself. I said.
And maybe for them to leave you alone.
Yeah, possibly as well. I agreed. And with that he was gone. So bear it in mind, and every 2 weeks the games were on in Europe and the team kept winning and I kept getting, you know, a small edge, and then we qualified from the group and we kept going away and playing fantastically well, but in the league we couldn't win a game. So I was scratching my head a bit and just kept this thought in my head, but not doing anything more with it. I wasn't in a circle, just with this thought in my head. And then squeaky bum time came near to the end of the season, and we played Chelsea, who had a far better team, a lot more money, and we got through it. We beat them. And then we went to a place called Istanbul in Turkey. We were 3-0 down at half time. And I said out loud, or in my head, I said, I thought we were supposed to bloody win this. And the last words that man said to me was, it's not over yet. 6 minutes later, after the second half, it was all square. We won on penalties. I got very drunk, and
but the deal was set.
The deal was set, and I took spiritualism very seriously, and I said to him I wanted a new direction. I don't want to go back over old ground. I said, can you send me in a direction? So
was this a guide that came in?
I think it was the same, more or less the same person, you know, because it was on a Saturday. I was coming home again from work in the afternoon, and it was probably around 1 or 2 o'clock, and I got to the top of the M1 just at Watford, and I was told, go to Garston Spiritualist Church. And I said, but what's on there? And that's all I had, go to Garston. And I went there, there was private readings on. So I said, okay. So in I went, and I had a private reading, and I was asked, who do I want to see? And I said, listen, I don't really know. And they put me with this lady, and she read for me, and I said, okay, that's not really what I wanted to hear, but she read for me, and what she did say to me was, I have a circle starting next Friday evening in St Albans, would you be interested? And that was it.
What interests me is that Michael used the term, we will prove it. Do you feel there was a band of spirits that came in around you?
Absolutely.
Are they the same band that's with you now?
Michael has not been in touch, but he gives me a sign now and again to let me know that he's around.
So we'll step back to let the others through, so to speak.
Yes, more to speak. Yeah, he does. He's lets me know, and then the rest of them come in, and we try to prove, try my best to prove that there's, you know, life after this physical world. You know, having experience in lots and lots and lots in this physical world, I definitely know that there is life after this.
On the last question before we end this particular recording, obviously you have your band that actually work with you. As much as you're learning to be the medium, have you learnt about the spirit world? Have you learnt the philosophy of life?
I think that is a work in progress.
Okay.
And I think as the older you get and the more time you sit and develop, because I believe that you know, there's people in the, you know, being a medium for 40 and 50 years even, and you know, each ones that I class are good will still say, I'm still learning. And anyone who says that they're in this for and they've been doing this for however long, you know, a year or 2 years, and saying they know everything, and That's just not what
I
I
have
believe.
to agree. I absolutely agree with
Unfortunately,
that.
it's just not what I believe. I believe that until we pass, until we leave this physical world, we'll be learning, and I think at a stage when it's right for us to learn something, we'll learn it, whether it's good or bad. And it's up to us to take what we get out of that and move it forward.
As time's moved on, do you find that as yourself, do you feel yourself feeling better about life? Because obviously you're dealing with people with their woes, and obviously people come to you for many reasons. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not about the spirit world, it's about their personal journey. Can you still hold yourself in a good place of it all? And
Yeah, I think I've learned to hold myself in a good place. Now, I have blips because I am only human, but I've got people around me to pull me back into line and, you know, give me the odd slap around the head to say, you know, buck your ideas up, and, you know, but that's what it's all about, because maybe I don't see all the things and I haven't got all the answers, and that's what I like about it. I haven't got all the answers, but that's the beauty of it.
it keeps you going.
You're still going. You know, there is times when I feel like, oh no, not this again, no, I can't do this anymore. But they always step back in and push you in the right direction, where you need to be, or the people you need to be around, or stuff like that. And you wake up one day and you say, okay, that's a lesson learned. A harsh lesson, fine, but it's a lesson learned. And you have to take whatever positives, no matter what kind of a dark place you're in. And just because you're a medium or a psychic or whatever, you don't get any special treatment.
Absolutely.
I think you have to find woes, because if you don't go through all these trials and tribulations yourself, how are you going to show compassion?
Lovely, Ben. Thank you very much indeed.
No problem.